The sun bled into the Pacific, painting the sky over Coronado Naval Base in hues of orange and purple. A man named James Colton, wearing a tattered jacket that smelled of salt and sea, walked towards the main gate. His backpack was faded, a relic of a past life. For 6 long years, the Coronado Bridge had been his only home. He was a ghost, haunted by the sands of Fallujah, by the face of his best friend. Marcus Reed, a brother lost in the chaos of war. PTSD and guilt were his constant companions. To the young security guards Tyler and Brent, James was just another vagrant. They stepped in front of him, their expressions a mix of duty and disdain. James offered them a crumpled piece of paper, an invitation to the graduation of Navy SEAL Class 342. They scoffed. "ID, sir?" Tyler asked, the word "sir" laced with sarcasm. James had none. His wallet, his name, his entire identity had been washed away by time and tragedy. Just as they were about to send him away, to cast him back into the shadows he came from, James slowly pulled up the sleeve of his worn jacket. There, etched onto his skin, was a story the young guards couldn't possibly comprehend. A set of coordinates, faded trident emblem, and a name a Calcian whispered only in the most revered circles of the SEAL teams, a name that struck both fear and awe. Reaper. The guards exchanged a wide-eyed glance. The gate opened. James found a seat in the darkest corner of the auditorium, a shadow among proud families. He watched Admiral Catherine Hayes command the stage, her voice echoing with words of honor, courage, and the immense sacrifice required to earn the coveted trident. Then he saw him, his son Aiden, Michael Colton. The boy he had left 6 years ago, a boy now a man striding across that stage with a purpose and strength that made James's chest ache with a pride so fierce it almost brought him to his knees. He had left to protect Aiden, to shield him from the broken man he had become. Seeing him now, James wondered if he had only broken them both. Admiral Hayes held up a gleaming gold trident. The air grew still with anticipation. She asked the traditional question, a call to honor. Is there a SEAL present who would like to pin this trident? Usually a mentor in crisp dress whites, or a proud father from the ranks would step forward. But tonight, from the back of the room, a single, scarred hand rose into the air. A murmur rippled through the crowd as James stood up and shuffled into the aisle. The light caught his gaunt face, his matted hair, his ragged clothes. For a moment there was just confusion. But then, Aiden's eyes locked onto his. Recognition, disbelief, and a wave of raw emotion washed over the young graduate's face. Aiden didn't hesitate. He turned to the Admiral, his voice clear and unwavering, cutting through the silence. "Admiral, my father is here." As James began his slow walk down the aisle, a transformation occurred. The crowd, initially confused by the sight of a homeless man, began to see something else. Admiral Hayes' eyes widened. She didn't see a vagrant. She saw the man behind the legend, saw Master Chief James Colton, the Reaper of SEAL Team 6, a ghost from the history books, walking into the light. Her posture snapped to attention. She rendered a full, formal salute, an act of supreme respect. That salute was a signal. Like a wave, every instructor, every graduate, every uniformed officer in the room rose to their feet. The sound of 100 chairs scraping back was a thunderclap. Aiden, his face wet with tears, sprinted from the stage. He didn't see the torn jacket or the years of hardship. He saw his dad. He threw his arms around James, a desperate, loving embrace, 6 years in the making, sobbing into his father's shoulder. The auditorium was utterly silent, bearing witness to a reunion that transcended rank and ceremony. Then the silence was shattered by thunderous applause. It was a roar of approval, of understanding, of shared humanity. James, his own body, trembling, gently pulled away from his son. He took the trident from the Admiral. With unsteady hands, he pinned the symbol of brotherhood and sacrifice onto his son's chest. He leaned in, his voice a choked whisper meant only for Aiden. "I'm so proud of who you became, the system that had forgotten." James Colton suddenly remembered. Admiral Hayes, moved by the evening's events, personally assigned a liaison to him. No more bridges, no more sleeping on cold concrete. He was guaranteed housing, medical care, and the support he should have received years ago. Captain Moss, one of James's old teammates, now a senior instructor, offered him a new role, a consultant, a mentor for the new generation of SEALs. In those first few weeks, James stayed with Aiden. They started rebuilding their shattered relationship, one cup of coffee, one walk on the beach at a time. The silence between them was gradually filled with words left unsaid for too long. James explained why he had left, his voice thick with shame. "I thought you were better off without a broken father," he admitted, staring at the waves. Aiden stopped walking and turned to face him. "I would have rather had you broken," he said, his voice firm with conviction, "than not have you at all." 6 months later, the sun rose over Coronado, and for the first time in years, James Colton watched it from a window, not from under a bridge. He had a small room, a warm bed, and a reason to get up in the morning. He would stand before new SEAL candidates, not with tales of glory and conquest, but with the hard-won truth. He spoke about trauma, about the invisible wounds of war, and about the most important lesson of all: you never, ever have to fight your battles alone. Standing on the beach with Aiden, watching the new recruits run through the surf, James felt a sense of peace he thought he'd lost forever. The nightmares hadn't vanished completely, but they no longer held him captive. He wasn't just surviving anymore, he was living. He had found his way home. Thank you for watching. If you or someone you know is struggling, please remember that help is available. You are not alone. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories that matter.